Hey, welcome to Hands on Diecast. I'm EC,
And I'm Kevin.
and today we are going to be reviewing the
Mercedes-Benz G500.
1/18 scale made by Autoart.
Yep.
Now, just on the real car itself, I just think of soccer moms or rich
Oh my God.
wives of rich playboys rolling around in G63s and 65s.
I mean, that's so sad, right? I mean, a car with such great significance has been relegated to the stereotype of your soccer mom's car. But I mean, let's think about it. This car really has an important history behind it. It was used in armies around the world.
Yep.
And it's one of the iconic Jeeps ever, like Jeep
Yep.
Wrangler,
Yep.
Toyota Land Cruiser, FJ Cruiser, and you can't forget the G Wagon or Wagen.
Yep, Wagen,
yeah.
yes. Developed for the military, participated in wars, saved hundreds of
lives.
thousands of lives, and today, being used to fetch kids on the school run.
Yeah,
effectively.
protecting kids today, I guess you can say that, right?
Well, I mean, that being said, right, when I was working in London, I used to see tons of G63s and 65s rolling around the streets, and it's, like you said,
I mean,
that's what it is.
It's
today.
really funny because this car was bare bones, like Land Rover Defender in the past, and look how it's like ultimate in luxury now.
Exactly. So let's find out exactly how much luxury has been translated to 1/18 scale. Let's dig into the model, shall we?
Yeah, let's do so.
Right, so as usual, we're going to start off with the front of the G500 made by Autoart.
Right.
Well, for me, I think even though this is not a signature model, this just shows where Autoart, the quality of an Autoart shows true, right? For example, being full die-cast metal, the components, this entire section that holds the headlamps, this is a separate molding to the rest of the body.
Yeah, I can see that, even the bumpers and everything. I mean,
Exactly.
you don't get this with resin, and you get this with die-cast. And the fact that this is a Millennium,
Yep.
I mean, the quality is really good for a Millennium.
Yes, die-cast for the win, says
Right.
EC.
Right.
Besides that, right, I think the proportions of the model is pretty good. The headlamps, I like it. Daytime running lights, average. Looks a little bit plasticky, I think you can see. It doesn't have the depth. as you
Yeah,
would
I
say.
see what you mean about the DRLs. The main xenon lights and the dip beams, they look fine to me. They look pretty good. Even the mesh behind the grille, if you look closely, the pattern looks accurate to the real car.
Yep. Meshing right through this little antake, the circular antake looks pretty decent as well as the fog lamps.
Right.
Probably one quick thing, it's one of the most defining design features of a G-Wagon.
Right.
The
These turning indicators.
Correct, the bonnet-mounted turning indicators. And you can see, right, Autoart even bothered to put the little rubber outlining around each lamp.
Yeah.
That for me is quality.
Yeah, can't agree more.
Yep. Let's move on, shall we?
Yep. Now onto the side profile of the G500. I think in this view, you really do see the boxy shape. You just look at the A, B, C pillars. It's just angular everywhere. And I mean, that really contributes to the iconic design of the G-Wagon.
Angular and utilitarian is the
Exactly,
next keyword, right? So one thing that I really like on the model, check out these hinges, right?
Yeah.
All of the door hinges. I think they managed to replicate, as close as they could on this scale level, how the actual hinge mechanisms work on the real car.
I think
right?
that's really cool. Like
Yes.
they didn't try to cut costs by doing some other hinge mechanism.
Yep.
And these are just for show they actually work.
Yes, correct. But then at the same time, okay, again, and maybe let's just stick on the utilitarian topic, right? The rubber moldings on the side of this model,
Yeah.
right, all the way through is not just across the door, which I'm pointing at. If you look around the window edges, right?
Yeah, it's everywhere, even on the fenders and
Yes.
everywhere, just like on the real car.
Exactly, right? And this is that level of detail which is why I'm a big Autoart fan, right?
Yes.
as you often call me. But at the same time, the rims. Check this out. This is like, again, moving away from the whole utilitarian concept. Mercedes bringing the G-Wagon.
Bringing in the luxury element, making it look cooler.
Yes, exactly. Right, you can just see the ventilated disc brakes front and rear, massive brakes, massive calipers.
Yeah, even on the rears, these
Yep.
calipers are still big.
Exactly. These side steps on the side, again, there's a little bit of chrome detail
Yeah,
along
they're adding the
sides.
bling for the luxury.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can just about catch a glimpse of the exhaust pipe, which interestingly on the G500 points downwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to the G63.
G63 and G65, where there are twin chrome tips coming out from the side.
Yep.
This is actually even more utilitarian than on the side because you don't want to scrape them when you're having sort of clearance issues,
Yes.
going over bumps and stuff.
Correct. So interestingly, on a quality point, let's just come back to these little strips again, right? So on the model with this particular Autoart, it came right off the box, no issues. But Kev, you have a story to share.
Oh dear. Yes, oh dear. Okay, so I do have a G65 by GT Spirit. G65 is relatively similar to the G500, the AMG version, of course. But what GT Spirit did was for these rubber moldings on the side, they actually have silver decals which are inlaid. And because the silver pieces are so small, there's not much surface area for the glue to adhere to the rubber piece. So they actually peeled off. So I got one where it was actually peeling. I had to request a new piece to stick on myself. Whereas these came right bang on from the factory. I mean, they look great.
Yep. GT Spirit versus Autoart. Autoart
And
won.
let's talk about price then.
Oh, come on. You got a slick deal
Let's
on
talk
this,
about
right?
price.
You
Yes,
got a
I
slick
did. But I mean, retail price, this is way, way more than a GT Spirit.
Yeah, that I agree. So, but yeah, I think this looks pretty good from a side profile as well.
Yep. Okay, on to the next part.
So right onto the rear of the G500,
Right.
like what you said, Kev, effectively is a box.
Yes. Yes.
A box with a round thing right in
And
the
that's
middle.
why it's cool.
Yes. So again, just coming back to the utilitarian topic, right? The hinge work Autoart managed to accomplish here. Now, the hinge work on the rear tailgate, admittedly, it's not quite as fine as the one that you see on the doors. A little bit big, a little bit off scale,
Yeah.
but for whatever reasons, I guess they didn't really have much of a choice to make it this way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think this is as good as it'll get.
Yep. Now, I guess in terms of the update of the G500, I do like the spare wheel cover, with this stylish little Mercedes logo.
Yeah,
in the-
it's tastefully done.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
a chrome that goes around. I mean, some people say it's a bit too bling, but I think it's okay.
Yes. Now, one thing here which I'm not too fond of on this model are the rear tail lamps.
And why is that?
It looks like Lego pieces.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right? It
That
looks
is
like
true.
translucent Lego
I mean,
pieces.
they've updated this tail light, I don't know how many times. Like, this is with the clear lens,
Yeah.
the clear lens was popular. And I don't know how many times this has been, how many iterations of the bumper and everything this
Yeah.
has gone through.
Exactly. I think it's just from a model angle, right? It's just
Yeah.
this looks a little bit like a Lego piece, and right on the rear bumper, you can just see the rear fog lamp, the reverse lamp.
Yeah.
Not so much finesse in terms of the details. You can see just the exact point where the glue.
Yeah,
is.
that little dot.
that
that
little
goes
dot
through
in the
it.
middle,
It's kind of
right?
annoying. Yeah.
Yes. Now, shall we dig into what's really interesting on
Yeah,
this
let's
model?
open this guy up and see.
A rear tailgate.
Yeah. It's a point to note is it's really hard to open the tailgate, so we cheated and we pre-opened it, but it snaps shut. Probably just like the real car, really tight,
Yep.
really hard to open, quite scary to open actually.
Built like a tank.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, but there isn't much to see in the trunk per se.
Yeah.
But
Off
it's
the
cool,
carpet.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, look at this. You can just literally put your entire key in
Yeah,
there.
it's storage, right?
Yeah. And at the same time, not to mention full flocking or carpeting, as
Yeah.
you will, right? And it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
This,
it's cool.
This is probably the most cool factor of the entire model.
The tailgate, right? Yeah. Even the detail here, like the little,
Yeah.
the leather and how it's creasing, that's quite cool. It's a nice touch.
Yes. So Lego for the tail lamps, but it's saved by the tailgate.
Yeah. Although they could have used real leather here, this was a bit of a cost-cutting measure, but it's all right.
That's not CMC, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's an Autoart. It should still have a certain level of quality.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
All right. All right, now into the engine compartment. First thing I notice is the hinge. The strut is amazing, as with all Autoart struts. The motion is very smooth. If you look at the engine, though, it does have the depth, so you can look down and see further to the bottom.
Yep.
But the problem is it actually looks quite plastic. If you look all around it, it just looks very plasticky.
Yep, agreed. The depth is definitely there, right? If you were to
Yeah.
look at it this way down, you can just you can see the exhaust manifold, etc.
Right.
The radiator details and whatnot. But the rest of it, for example, this trimming along the side, around the front, I have no idea what you call this in real life.
I have no clue. This looks like it's near the aircon filter and whatnot, but I have no clue.
Correct, but yeah, in general, it is plasticky. Sorry,
Yeah,
Autoart,
yeah.
not a great effort here.
Yeah.
Right. Just quickly back to the hinge though. So one thing, like we said earlier, right? Both me and Kevin, we have this model, and one thing that we have both experienced is that this being full diecast, right? This entire bonnet is heavy. It's made of solid steel, and if you're not careful, this hinge may not be strong enough to hold it up.
Yeah, and right now, we're keeping our fingers crossed that it's not going to drop at the moment.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for the engine.
I mean, one other thing is the molding on the inside. I don't know if that's accurate to the real car.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool if it is. They actually took the effort to replicate the inner side of the bonnet.
Oh, yes, and on that note as well, the hinge work. Again, they managed to replicate the same hinge work that we found at the
On
doors.
the doors, yes.
Yes, it's also there on the top of the bonnet too.
Yeah, very cool.
Yes.
All right, on to the next part. Moving on to the interiors. Immediately, I see lots of plastic, black plastic, and that looks like burl wood. Overall, it's quite a nice interior. I mean, if you talk about the real car, this has been an interior that has been through numerous iterations. As time passed by, they kept upgrading the interior to make it more luxurious and more modern with all the tech inside. But in terms of the quality of this model, I'd say it's kind of disappointing. I think EC, you'd probably agree.
Yeah, plastic, right? Everything is plastic. So I mean, okay, fine. You know, we do know that when it comes to wood trimmings, it's not easy, right, to try and replicate this in 1/18 scale.
Yeah.
I think this is okay in terms of the wood trimming, but in terms of the rest of the dashboard, it's just really basic plastic, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know it's unfair to compare this to say a signature model, but then, you know, let's say for example the McLaren F1 Le Mans that we last reviewed,
Right.
You could see that the plastics were, you know, it had some texture to it.
Yeah, I mean, they even chose like that matte grayish plastic for the dash and stuff to give off that matte look, whereas this one is just like black plastic.
Yes,
That's it.
correct. I mean, just take a look at where I'm pointing right here at the steering column, right? This is doesn't look great, right, in terms of detail. But that being said, there is some interesting detail in this interior. For example, a fire extinguisher, which is actually located underneath the seat right here. We get a separate shot of that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is nice. And of course, you know, the standard, we will get another shot there as well. What do you call the Mercedes iDrive
It's like
equivalent?
command center or
Command
something.
center, yeah, exactly.
With one M or something funny like that.
Something like that, yeah. So it's all of that's around the center console, and of course the famous the 3 diff switches on the Mercedes dash.
Yeah, of course, the 3 dips.
Yes, in the Wagen.
Yeah, and the decal application, I think also, not to take it for granted, but they're always placed like bang on, like the positioning of the 3-pointed star, even the decal on the command center screen, everything's done really well.
Yep.
So I think that's cool. It's just that like the seats, if they were real leather on there, like the Mercedes S-Class that they did, then that would really make this like up a notch.
That is true. Autoart did do Mercedes models before with leather seats.
Yeah,
Actually, this is.
And then they cut costs.
Yes, exactly. This
Yeah.
is plastic. Move on to the rear, shall we?
Yes, that's...
Right, so now we're looking into the rear of the G500.
Right.
And question, Kev, are you thirsty?
Yes, I am, in fact.
One of the few models where, as you can see, there are cup holders right in the middle of the center console, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's right on that, is it like on a hump or something?
The transmission tunnel.
Yeah, the transmission tunnel. And I've never seen cup holders designed in such a way. Usually there's some sophisticated, like, you know, you press a button, they fold out.
Yeah.
This one's just there.
Yes, it's very military-esque, perhaps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess coming again from the front, very plasticky. You know, all of these seats, everything is all plastic.
Yeah.
Door cut details. I think you found something interesting, Kev.
Yeah, while looking at it closely, I actually noticed that the speaker grill, the circular speaker grill, it has the manufacturer of the speaker on it. I can't read it, but it probably says Harman Kardon or one of the suppliers for the speakers. And I thought that detail was really cool.
Yep. One thing that Autoart did manage to get into scale is that we do know that in real life, although the G-Class is a pretty big vehicle, space in the back is tight. It's not a big vehicle. And you can see, I mean, if you imagine like a 1/18 scale person was to sit in here, that's not a lot of leg room.
No, it isn't.
But yeah, I guess that's pretty much
That's it. Yeah.
Plastic, plastic, plastic.
Let's move on. All right, wrapping things up, the G500, an iconic Jeep used in war and, as EC mentioned, used in the morning school runs now, protecting soldiers to protecting kids.
Yeah, quite a big difference
Yeah,
there.
quite a big difference. Also quite a big difference in how they looked in the past and how
Yes.
much of a luxury vehicle they are today.
Very true that.
Overall, I'm just gonna come out and give my rating and not beat around the bush. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
Oh.
And let me justify that. I mean, most of you, after listening to us complain about the plasticky bits and everything, probably are expecting a 7 or so. But let's think about this. How many model car manufacturers made the G500? I can't recall any off the top of my head, but I think we should be grateful that Autoart was the one who made it and
Yep.
gave it such fine details. I mean, think about the hinges and everything.
Yep.
It was really well done. So for the shortcomings, I feel like the attention to detail they put into the various components like the hinges and so forth, it sort of overshadowed those minor shortcomings that we pointed out. What are your thoughts?
Now, same wavelength, right? I think at the end of the day, it's not a perfect model. We talked about the plasticky engine bay, the plasticky interior, lack of finesse, if you will, in some of the detail all around the model. But at the end of the day, it's like what you said, Kev. Who else has made the G-Class in full diecast opening bits?
Exactly.
Pretty much Autoart, right?
Yeah.
GD Spirit did a full resin sealed model of the G63
3 and
3s
65.
and 5s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you want something that's opening and you can display it like that as how it is on the camera, this is pretty much your only choice. And in terms of this purpose, it looks great, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it has immense presence. I mean, you'd think it's just an SUV, but boy, when you put it in the display cabinet, it really does have presence.
Yes. So but that being said, you gave it a 9. For me, as purely as a model, a little bit disappointed with some of the details. So I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah, I'm not
10.
surprised. EC is the extreme sort of like hardcore car kind of guy, and I'm
Yeah.
more the eclectic kind of guy. So I like all kinds of cars from BMW 2002s to a Gelandewagen. So this rocks my boat. So I guess I could be a little biased in the review as well.
Cool. So I guess that pretty much wraps up our review. Do let us know if you like it. Do let us know if you have any comments, or you don't agree with what we said, or you agree with what we said.
Exactly. Leave your comments below. We want to hear your rating. What do you think of this model, and what other components do you want us to review or see more of in each model that we continue to review?
Yes. So until next time, this has been Hands on Diecast.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Take care.